Tanshi Kiwa, hello, how are you all? Welcome to Homelands, originally broadcast on CFCR Community Radio, 90.5 FM in Saskatoon, Homelands of the Métis and Treaty 6 Territory, CFCR.ca. This is your favorite auntie, Andrea Letting Dushni Kashoon. My name is Andrea Letting. Call me Auntie Andy if you like, and I'll be your host over this next half hour. I am part settler, part relative, and 100% ally and relation to everyone. I'm just me, not a card-carrying member of any Indigenous nation, but I am loved, adopted, related to, and accepted by many, rejected by a few. Haters gonna hate, relators gonna relate. I am blessed to have Indigenous relations in my family, and secretly I may love them a little bit more than the rest, only because they are the first peoples of this land who welcome all the guests. But I'm also mostly Irish with some Scandinavian, along with a little bit of mystery, and that's the way I was raised, strongly anti-colonial and justice-oriented with a big related heart for all. I most empathized with my Batoche Métis friends and family and that history and culture growing up, and as an adult have continued to try to live that Mio Pimitiswin, that beautiful good life. So from the fringes of the sash, I situate myself as a relative and an ally and welcome you, my listeners, as brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, cousins in the homelands. Let's welcome our relative tonight. So last week we had Elder Norman Fleury to start us off with a prayer in a good way and some Métis history. This week we're getting a little bit more modern. It was Le Vieux Monde last week, the old world. But this week we're stepping it up with Lindsay Knight as our guest, sister from another mister. She is from Musqueam First Nation. She is an award-winning hip-hop artist, and she's also a scholar, just on the side there. She's done her master's degree talking about music and Indigenous culture, and now she's going to be releasing her 10th album as part of her PhD. So she's also a proud mother of two beautiful kids. And welcome, Lindsay. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Dante. It's nice. To be honest, that is the best intro I have ever heard. It's so good. It's so good. It just like speaks to heritage and it's just all that sort of honesty and humility. It's very cool. Very cool.
Thank you. I don't know where to start with you. There's so many places. So you're the first storyteller in residence at the University of Saskatchewan. Do you want to start there?
Sure, yeah. So that's a role that started at the beginning of January. So, new year, new me, 2021 is going to be better and blah, blah, all of that. So it was kind of one of those try something new. I was asked to do a few months ago. I was asked to step into that role and try it out, and it hasn't been done before, so it's sort of like a pilot. So yeah, it was exciting to do something, positive and uplifting in the set for myself and also for the community as a way of talking about storytelling it's a huge part of Indigenous cultures in the winter, and it's a good time to have that role in place. Yeah, so it's been cool, but it's been a little tricky with not being able to go into the library or sit with students and sit with community in the same way that we like to do that with storytelling, or particularly what I do is hip hop and write lyrics and rap. That's sort of my way of storytelling, but I can't really do that um, to people right now and in an audience or in a public space. So that's been a little bit of a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. It's I've had these sort of Zoom meetings where people can come and visit with me and do these coffee talks, and those have been cool. We talk a lot about identity. That's what I've been focusing on through this residency, identity, and that's why I'm mentioning, like, I just love that intro, because everybody has a story, and I've always known that, but just being in this role, I've really learned that everybody has a story and they learn to tell it. They learn to tell it in their own way. And it's always beautiful because it really speaks to their identity and culture and history and all of that. So it's cool to learn how to tell your story. So good on you. Yeah. Yeah, so that's sort of been how it's been going. Sort of a wrap up for that is there's an event on February 3rd. Of course, it'll be online. It's Indigenous Achievement Week at the university. So that'll be one of the events that's happening during that whole week. There's a few things going on. So that one's going to be at 1 p.m. on February 3rd, which is a Wednesday, I believe. So yeah, so that'll be pretty cool. I'll get to share a bit of, what I've learned from people, but also what I've, been able to write and reflect upon during this residency.
So what have some of the high points been of the residency, like the interaction online and that kind of thing?
It's been cool. It's been, I guess, unexpected, right? Because when you have a Zoom link, it's open to, we have it open for whoever. So it's not necessarily just like the university community. It's been expanded to whoever wants to join. So a couple weeks ago, I had a woman join all the way from Ontario, and she had just discovered, she was part of the 60s scoop, and she had just discovered that she had her bio mom was from Canoe Lake over here. So it was kind of, just hearing her story and her journey, and wow, it was just like, I'm so lucky that in this role I get to, tell my stories, which, everybody's used to, but get to hear other stories, really unexpected. So yeah, that was a cool example. But also, I've had a couple of professors and students and people within the community that are poets and writers, and yeah, just a wide variety. So it's been really neat. Yeah.
Sounds awesome. That's a really cool story.
Hmm.
So tell us a bit about your academic work as it relates to hip hop.
Yeah.
How you tie that all together.
I don't know. It's all tied together, eh? Like when you think about it, it's everything's tied together, and I've really been sort of formulating that, as I go along. Like, um, it's hard to compartmentalize your journey. I guess maybe the older you get, I don't know if, but everything that I do for my little ones, for my babies, they're not babies, they're 12 and 8, but they're still my babies, and they'll always be my babies. And if they were here, they'd be rolling their eyes, but they're not. So, but so everything I do, I think about them first. So music, when I write, I'm always thinking, what will they think about these songs? And 10 years from now, what will they think about these songs? 20 years from now, what will they think about these songs? As I'm doing my academic work, I'm thinking, how can I assist in maintaining Indigenous music as more than just entertainment and a practice, but a way of being, a way of living, a way of thinking, a way of knowing that's been with us, pre-contact. Music has always been such a connection to the spirit world in so many ways. So how can I maintain that and kind of keep that alive in through working on this PhD and working on an album, as a part of that process, so that that music that I work on and the lyrics will be able to get across to a wider audience than maybe a dense PhD. Which, don't get me wrong, I love academic writing, and I'm a total nerd. I love, I love big words, but I also love my community, and want to do anything that is gonna further and better community, which is, number one, my kids, my most important people. So that's all, it's all tied together. I have to think about my music and my PhD and my kids, and just, staying healthy as best I can, and trying to persevere and pull through in this weird time that we're in right now. And yeah, just always with the future in mind.
So tell me how you got into hip hop, because I know, like, so when I was a teenager, and I'm older than you, I listened to Run DMC, and I was like the only person who did.
No way.
So,
That's awesome.
excuse me, I'd rap in my basement, but I'm a closet rapper.
No way. Yeah.
But I mean, tell me about your journey and how you came to the hip hop world. And
Yeah, that's so cool. That's a little tidbit I didn't know about you. That's awesome. Got to add that to your intro when closet rapper. um Yeah, for me it's a funny story. Like, we go to the res a lot. I grew up in the city mostly, but we go to the res, and my uncle Chester had a satellite TV, and he used to, get all kinds of channels that we'd never see like anywhere else in the city. And one of them was BET, and that's Black Entertainment Television. And we flipped it on one day, and me and my cousins were sitting there watching, and then the show Rap City, The Basement, came on, and I was just like, I had heard hip hop and rap and sort of the mainstream stuff, or the stuff that was really popular. Like for me, it was Public Enemy. Like Fear of a Black Planet was the first CD that I ever bought was that one. So, but so we heard rappers, predominantly from the States, that were rapping not just about like partying and just having fun and forget about your troubles. We heard about struggle and the realities of the streets and the reality of being non-white in America, and that what comes with that. And it was just like, it blew my mind. Like I didn't know much about anything. I was 13 years old, but I could feel the energy that came across in those stories. And I knew right then and there I was hooked, because I had always sort of I'd written my story. I used writing as a form of therapy ever since I could write, when I was grade 1 maybe. So it made sense that, and it sounded really cool, right? You could like got these beats, like you can relate, you'd hear it and you'd want to like rap along and try to learn how to rap like that, and because the beats. So yeah, from that point on, I practiced, and we ended up getting a crew together, like my brother and a bunch of cousins and friends, and we called ourselves the Inner Soul Flow Crew. And we used to just like, write. My brother made most of the music, like the beats, and then we just write lyrics, and we'd cipher meaning we'd get in sort of this circle, and we'd take turns like rapping to this beat. And yeah, that's just how it came to be. And I had never in my life, like I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, but I really didn't think I would, eventually grow up and get a real job. But yeah, no, I'm still here, and I still do it, and it still moves me in the same way that it did, when I was a teenager. And one of the things about hip hop too is it's pretty new. It started in the late 70s, and it's a newer sort of culture and genre that evolved from struggle and inner city struggle and identity, struggle with identity, and just finding a place to express empowering messages and that kind of thing. That's how it started. I won't get into how the industry shifted it throughout the years, but that was the sort of the birth of hip hop in the Bronx. So because it's newer, like it sometimes, um, people like to think that it's a young genre for young people, but as we move forward through the decades, we're finding that like a lot of rappers are still rapping, and they're in their 60s now, and they're still, you got like Jay-Z and KRS-One. There's so many of these like sort of giants in hip hop that are still doing it. And so when I see those guys, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can still, yeah, I don't have to worry about I'm too old to rap, because I can keep doing this the same way that country musicians play country right up until their 80s, and until they until they can't play the guitar anymore, right? So it's kind of the same. I'm thinking of it the same way.
That's awesome. I love that. Going from like Eekwol to Dr. Eekwol to Cookum Eekwol.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the plan.
So great transition. Yeah. Um, so for those of you just joining us, we're 90.5 FM CFCR, originally broadcast on cfcr.ca, or you can join online, or you can listen to the live radio show. This airs from 7 to 7:30 p.m. We have Eekwol with us, Lindsay Knight, and she's just doing a bit of storytelling with us about her roots and where she's come from and where she's going. So tell us a bit more about maybe your creative process. Like how do you generate, whether that's with your academic writing or your music writing? And what kind of message do you have for other people about creativity?
Hmm. That's a good one. Yeah. It's a weird, it's different for everybody, but if for myself, being a mom with two kids, I'm pretty busy. My priority is giving them attention and focus on them and their, well-being. So I do find times to like get into a creative space, but they're kind of few and far between. So when I do have those times, or I'll sort of have to book the times. Like when I was, younger before kids, I would just sit there for like 6 hours and just write to a beat and stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning writing. That doesn't happen anymore. So my process has changed. So it's a little bit more urgent. It's more like, okay, you have to flip on that creative switch now. You can't just like get in the vibe and the zone. It's just like, no, you got this time. Let's do this. Let's do this. So I gotta like, get that pen, or to be realistic, gotta get that MacBook open and get to work. So what I do, it's usually it's reactionary. Like my lyrics and my songs and my writing is always reactionary. Um, it's kind of unfortunate that it has to be that way, but that's always how I've created music. So hearing a news story, seeing something on my news feed, here just that kind of thing, like what's going on in the world, what's going on right at home, what's going on in the community. It's usually something that'll trigger a reaction, and then from that I write. So that's sort of always been my process. So I can't really like write at that moment, but I have in on my phone, the notes, like the notes app. That's just full of like these little ideas. So every time, if I'm driving at a red light, I'll quickly just type in that line that I want to, eventually write, or just something that comes to mind. I'll give you a quick example. Like today, I just had a, a thought that I'm going to write about, but it was in response to the idea of resilience. And we hear a lot about that in our communities. This idea of that we're resilient people, and there was something that always kind of bothered me about that term, and it just like hit me like a ton of bricks this morning actually while I was jogging. I have a treadmill downstairs. So it's that idea of resilience. Like I think, we're all, as human beings, we're all resilient, but I think, why is there only a select, group of us that has to demonstrate that resilience, right?
Mhm.
And we focus on this demonstration of resilience when in reality we got to figure out, we should be looking at what has caused the state that we're in, where we have to become resilient. Right? Let's take it back to who created that space where resilience is necessary. So that was something I'm like, so I'm just running, I'm like, oh, that makes me mad. So I'm going to be ready. So, in the next while, you'll be hearing an Eekwol song about resilience. Probably like resilience with a question mark at the end or something like that. Or
Putting
I don't
skill
know.
in resilience.
Yeah. Yeah. Like who knows where it'll go. But that's the kind of thing that happens, right? That's just an example right there. I'm just throwing at you. But that's how it works. And that's how my songs come about. So as a process, yeah, I write them down. My brother still sends me beats. He just sent me one yesterday, and I get beats from a lot of different people that create beats, and they send them to me and ask me if I feel any of them, if I want to write to them. So I'll listen to them, and if I'm feeling one of them, or it's kind of matches something that I've been writing, then yeah, we'll just work from there. So it's kind of an organic process, but yeah, it always stems from something, a reaction of some sort.
And it's collaborative as well, hey?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like your
Yeah.
last album was with T Rhyme and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was based on the reaction of just being like so fed up with the music industry and how, male dominated it is, and how much we've always had to struggle with, you know, being acknowledged and recognized in the same way as a lot of men are, and then also just the treatment that we get by a lot of the, other artists, industry people. it's always, yeah, it's always kind of a something that we're up against. So we were just sitting there one day and we're like, you know what, screw this. Let's just write a whole album about being women and like, and just make it just for women and those who identify as women, and nobody else is allowed to listen to it ever. And, we were just kind of joking, and we took it to, we got a Canada Council grant for it, surprisingly. And we just like, we went all the way with it. And yeah, funny thing is, just we work so well together, me and T Rhyme. A lot of laughter in the studio, a lot of tears. But that album came out of that, so we're really proud of it, and it got the most attention that I've ever had with when it comes to albums and songs. So I guess we did something right, or timely and necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for women by women. It's awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great album, but all your albums are good. So,
Oh, thank you.
have you seen kind of a progression through them? Like looking back at them, is there any kind of comments you have about them or?
Yeah, well, definitely they're alongside my life journey. Hey, so as a young person, like teenager or whatever, like it's a lot more of a relaxed kind of like different vibe. Hey, and then as you get older, there was some couple really angry albums, and then I had my kids, and I realized like I can be angry, but I also have to be careful, how I walk in the world in order to protect them because they need me. So I had to think about finding more compassionate ways to confront systemic, injustice and colonial, settler colonialism and all of that. So yeah, that's how the sort of the after kids, my pre-kid and then post-kid albums are different. No more F-bombs and no, well, not really. Well, there's some, but but they're in a good way, no? Good reason for them. So yeah, so then I wrote an album for, based on my son, and then I wrote the next one sort of based on my daughter. So they're all kind of, yeah, sort of based in that, how I talked about I do everything for my kids. That's sort of, even the albums and the music, I think about them. So, and now, I had never wanted to sort of rap about being a woman because I thought, well, that's kind of takes away from, I just want to be acknowledged as a good rapper. Like, let's not put gender on anything. And but then when I had my daughter, I realized, okay, I really have to like rap about being a woman because I thought of her, and she needs to have that, that message from mom that you're in a very powerful place as a woman, and that we need to really embrace that power. So that's sort of what happened there. So now I'm just kind of writing, kind of working on the PhD, and it's tricky for us artists. You probably feel this too in the pandemic. It's just kind of the creative process is a little. I found it challenging. Like I'm trying not to be too despairing or negative in my lyrics and stuff. So I kind of hold back on some things, and because I don't want it to just be this reflection of, this whole pandemic and the people we're losing, and all of that, eh? So I don't know. It hasn't been as I haven't been as active creatively, to be honest.
Yeah, and I
During the
think that's pretty common. I've
Yeah,
heard a lot of people say that, and I felt the same way myself.
right. Yeah.
It's just hard. It's hard to get that creative juice flowing when there's that stress or
Hmm.
that difference in how everything's functioning. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. And I was sorry to hear about Terry Adamoyo too. Yeah,
Mm.
my condolences to the family. He would have been a great guest, like such a great storyteller and language
Oh
keeper.
man. Yeah, we're still, yeah, little shocked about that. Still haven't really processed it. It's just, yeah, it's just weird how I've lost a lot of family over the last year, and it's, I think that's part of that idea about resilience is like you think about, how resilient you have to be in a time like this, and then, losing so many loved ones, and more so in our indigenous communities just because of all, the health or, the health situation that we have in our communities, the reality of all goes back to the effects of colonization and, intergenerational stuff and yada yada. But it's still hard. It still hurts, even though I try to rationalize it. Sometimes it still weighs pretty heavy. So yeah, we just got to get through it, and I know we will, and I know there'll be better days. So yeah, we'll just do our best, eh?
Mm-hmm. Hi, hi. So closing thoughts. I guess circling back to the storytelling and creativity, um, what kind of advice do you have for other artists, other aspiring hip hop writers, other
Yeah.
just creative, just writing in general, the creative outlet?
Yeah, well, I have a big one that I like to share with people and of all ages, because you can start doing this kind of stuff, in your 50s and your 60s. It doesn't matter how old you are. Um, but it's that finding that, like it sounds cheesy, but we're all we're all just like snowflakes. We're all different stars in the universe, nobody's the same. But it's true, we're all very different, as individuals, and it's once you can really, self reflect and really really look into yourself to see what makes you unique. um, Use that in your work. Don't try to imitate somebody else. Try to sound like them, or write like them, or whatever, your draw, paint like them, because people are going to be always be more interested in that, the original person, right, the one who does it. So try to think of something that only you have, that you can bring into that art, that creative practice, and that's what people will love. That's what people will latch on to. And the sooner you can discover that about yourself, the farther you'll get. Like, I know I was in my younger days, I'd imitate a lot of the rappers that I really respected and admired, and I call those my training days, because I was training, I was learning how to rap like them, kind of like how, with Run DMC. You learn and you're training by these masters, or these people who are really good at what they do. But there comes a point where you got to start, doing your own thing, and that's, me being Nehiao, Apitao Nehiao, woman from this Treaty Six territory, with the accent that I have, but not trying to sound like I'm from LA or New York. Like, it's about being who I am and my identity, and putting that into my music. So I try really hard to do that in my lyrics, and I try to incorporate the Cree that I know, and the experience and the stories that I have right here, not pretending to be that I'm from over there, that over there is better. I like right here, so I really put that into my words and music. Yeah, so I think it's just that being original, come at it from original, authentic place that is only you. Yeah.
Awesome advice. Well, that is all our time for tonight. So, Marcy, to our relative, Lindsay Knight, Eekwol, Niwag Maganak, all my relations, and believe me, we are all related, so act like you've got them. This is Auntie Andy signing out from Homelands, originally produced on CFCR Community Radio 90.5 FM in Saskatoon, Homelands of the Métis, and Treaty 6 Territory, CFCR.ca. You can find excellent programming on Indian and Cowboy podcasting. Follow us on Twitter at Métis Homelands. Or if you have comments, questions, suggestions, email métishomelands@gmail.com. This episode will also be viewable on our YouTube channel, Homelands, so subscribe today. Marcy, thank you for listening. And Akoshi, Kawapa Matinawao Mina. That's all. We'll see you later.